here at ACO Radio, American Communications Online, or any affiliated stations or websites are not responsible for what guest hosts or call-ins may say. All programming is intended for informational and entertainment purposes only.
Hello, world. Welcome aboard, all you ground troops spinning around smartly on the planet we call home, Gaia, Earth. Mother Nature is here, as well as us humanoids on the planet. And we are those that have been here happily for 9 years on this very planet. And we are radio people. We are a radio host, co-host, and we are here to bring you the best of the best because we are the American Communications Online. And we're welcoming all you ACO Association, unincorporated social media club people out there over the years with Cyberspace Culture Online. And we are talking to you, yes, all of you that use free social media like Facebook. You've heard of that. You've heard of Twitter and LinkedIn for all you business-to-business people. And now kids using Instagram, a lot of our friends. And we're here to talk about all that, not just TikTok or Snapchat or all the young kids have abandoned most of us on Facebook. We're all the old guys, the cyberspace boomers, they call us, due to baby boomers. But we're going to talk weekly on Thursdays with our TJ Mars ET radio brand talk because we're going to keep that brand going. Even though I have found out that iHeart bought Spreaker, that bought VoxNest, or Spreaker bought VoxNest, that bought Spreaker, that bought Blog Talk Radio, where I began long time ago. And officially, I had been on Blog Talk Radio for years and didn't know it until I bought my own franchise or my own station. And this is ACO now. It was TJ Mars ET Radio, but we're going to keep that brand the same that iHeart kept with Spreaker and Blog Talk Radio. So this is TJ Mars ET Radio brand out there because it's been out there for years as a brand, so why try to reinvent the wheel, right? But this is going to be ACO, and we have ACIR Radio for our secret investigation under the cover. See more butts, right? Under the covers, or is it Under the Bleachers by Seymour Butts, the book that everybody knows about. And we are writers writing books, having fun, and this is the year 2021. Hindsight is 2020 is what that book's all about. That's right, folks. Hindsight is 2020. Just like the year 2020, and believe it or not, Las Vegas is open again as of June 1st, 2021, and we are here to say it live and archive. Now, my new co-host of this world, this planet, is Richard Thomas Knight of California, USA. However, at the time, he has agreed to help me with the southern region of the United States and is thereby residing in Valdosta, Georgia. So all you Valdosta, Georgia people out there, we're giving you a shout-out for Rick Knight, who is a well-known, famous Men in Black. That's right, folks. One of the famous government contractors with me as a former under the cover or under the bleachers with Seymour Butts. We want to laugh a lot these days, and Richard has got a lot of stories to tell about being around the world. And also, when he was born in California, he grew up and learned all about Hollywood and being in security and helping event plan or be at events and bodyguarding and all that stuff. And I did too, believe it or not. I got started at age 3 on KNOE, James A. Noe Station in Monroe, Louisiana. So I've been in front of a camera ever since. However, when Richard and I, through the 80s, 90s, and the 2000s, we were secret agent men and women, and we decided to meet here and start a little group of science fiction writers with another guy named Ralph Kennedy Johnston Sr., who I just talked to. He's our man in charge he has a bigger sign on his 5 stars with being a former civil engineer astronaut. That's right. He was one of those weird people we used to say was going to be a spaceman, but he never got to go up in one of the Apollo missions or any of that off the planet. But he did get to wear all the uniforms and do all that, so we're giving a big shout-out for all you people in social media land that work with him on Facebook. Yes, he is still our fearless leader because everybody needs a fearless leader, and he is fearless. He's helped us in the USA and India. He put India on the map with me when he went out of country to India to speak for me and us for our promoting Mars and our books. And he has some stuff he can show. But if you look at our show today, you'll see his secret agent badges. That's right, even Area 51 secret agent badges. You didn't know they existed. I had a magic badge. And Richard Knight, been all over, was out of country, but I'm going to bring him on now because it's just going to be Richard and I welcoming my celebration. Happy birthday to me. 9 years right here, and I sound crappy. I was a singer all those years, and I was made T.J. Morris Love One Another, my big CD with Bluegrass Train A'Comin that got famous for being a train song that went out on a lot of people making money off of me, and Bluegrass Train A'Comin. I'll play it at the end of the show, but Richard T. Knight, let's call you Rick today, Mr. Secret Agent Man in Black. How are you today, Rick?
I'm doing fine, thanks, TJ. I guess we'll call you TJ today.
Okay, yeah, let's be Rick and TJ. Wow, what a plan for you and me. It shortens everything because we wear many hats, and we'll just mention real quickly to mention that he and I are actually clergy, chaplain pastors in the past for the government as far as helping people cross over or helping them in the field and corpsman type, medic type, and being at the guard gate in security out of country. But, Richard, where do you want to start? Let's give them a little bit, because you know how we do in the beginning. We both have a story of origin, but people may be looking at us different because we've never really come out as the people telling the story now. And now that we're retired and going to be like many contractors, we're just going to do a little PR work, a little security work online together, and maybe even go sit in a car in the bushes sometimes. But you can just call us TJ or Rick if you ever walk up on us and know who we are, which is our job was always to be in the bushes, wasn't it, Rick, or somewhere down the road sitting out there. But let's start somewhere. Let's start in California, Rick, because we could talk all day, but it's my anniversary, 9 years on radio. So what does that mean to you to have a partner now on radio that's been same place, same station for 9 years? Does that make me an old guy, or what is that about? And today we're going to do it. You were on here 10 years with Blog Talk, or at least 5. But to start talking about your California days and how we're now retired radio people, but we want to work part doing something. We'll figure it out. But you talk for a minute. Tell us about you in California, Hollywood, and helping people, and what brought us to writing books today.
Well, I started out in California a long, long time ago now, it seems. Like another lifetime ago almost. I spent 20 years in California. It's my native state. And basically I was trained as a private investigator, and I had some very wealthy clients, which due to privileged information I cannot mention their names. But the job was basically finding their children that had scattered all over the country and gotten into cults and drugs and all kinds of different things of that nature. And basically, with waivers in hand and court orders and such, I went about the country and collected them and brought them home. And it paid a very sizable fee. And then in addition to that, I got involved in the esoteric and the metaphysic community, and I was teaching different things such as Kabbalah, and I was doing tarot readings and all of this kind of thing, and met a lot of different people from a lot of different walks of life at psychic fairs and that kind of thing. And then I left California and went to New Orleans. of course, the city that time forgot. And I spent 10 long years in New Orleans, and that has probably hundreds of stories in and of itself. But it's always been in service to others. In other words, always with the mind of helping people, whether they needed legal help as far as, getting them the right resources to act on their own behalf or act with legal counsel in courts, or to provide them evidence that would help win their cases in court and that kind of thing. I also spent 4 years with the JAG Corps while I was stationed in New Orleans, and I did that as a legal clerk and company clerk for a detachment over there, and that was quite an experience. Of course, I was only in the reserve. I did not go in full time because I was in a situation that I wanted to leave behind, and I figured that would be an excellent way to leave it behind, and I assure you it most certainly was. I went training and all that good kind of stuff, and I was approached by intelligence at the time, but I asked the man, well, do you know the good guy from the bad guy? And he said, well, no, technically no, because one day you're a good guy and the next day you're kind of a bad guy, and then the next day you're a good guy, and the team kind of works around that and works that way. And I said, well, that's kind of strange. So I have to, we'll have to discuss it as another time. It's another matter or whatever. But yes, I've done all kinds of investigations that involved, let's see, you could say corporate espionage, you could say blackmail, you could say disappearing people, you could say all manner of things, basically speaking. And, of course, I made a tremendous amount of enemies, so I had to lay low for a while. And, in the interim, of course, I happened to become involved in the martial arts. I began training at the age of 9, and I've basically hung up my gloves more or less, although that once you have trained for 30 years, you don't forget the know-how of what you've learned. It becomes kind of embedded in your persona, I guess you could say. But yes, I've done I did some time in the Army, and then later on, I worked as an investigator with a councilman at large. I worked as an investigator for judges. I've worked as an investigator for attorneys. I've worked as an investigator for private and corporations and companies and all that kind of thing. And I've done some things with the government that I can't talk about because unfortunately the statute of limitations in regards to, the Secrecy Act has not quite expired yet. It'll be coming up pretty soon, though. And just been very, very interested, intrigued, and you could say a seeker of truth and knowledge, because I've always loved to be involved in events that were of psychic or paranormal or metaphysical nature. I've done a lot of paranormal investigating where allegedly houses or places were haunted, or helping out individuals that, were basically claiming that, there were spirits in their residences that were not allowing them peace of mind. And as you said earlier, I have been a member of Universal Life Church as an ordained minister now since the 70s anyway, so at least 40 years or more. And, I provide a lot of spiritual counseling in situations where, people are just in crises, basically speaking. And so all around kind of, I wear many hats. I've worn many hats. I've done frontline security for the Army overseas. I've done frontline security for given individuals that were of note. I've done investigations, like I said, from all perspectives other than those considering the seas and that kind of thing. I have worked for immigration as an inspector for a while, and I was director of security for a naval hospital for a while, and just all kinds of different hats. So I have had a great admixture of life in regards to experiences, in regards to situations, in regards to all kinds of things. So that's me in a teaspoon, you could say.
Okay, well, that was a pretty good rundown. And basically the same thing here. I worked in the hospital, but Corman also secured